about to say something else. Sorry guys, I saw Anka doing this. And then I knew I'm saying the wrong thing.
Can't
Sorry.
switch me off like that.
Hello, guys. That's for Anka.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us for yet another Gabfest.
You didn't time it. You must time it again.
Agu, these people, man, they just have issues with me every single week.
It's the way we
just
start.
tough
It's just the
love.
starter. This is how we do it. It's
Sorry, guys.
1, 2, 3.
What now?
Again.
Sing Anka.
That's
Anka
right.
will read
Just
us
like
some.
to,
Anka just
like
really
to assign
wants
this
to
to
sing.
someone else.
It's not the same, guys. You leave me hanging. Sisa.
Aigu.
Moving along swiftly.
You made me too conscious about it because I
You
just
even
used
have
to
a jingle.
say it. I just
But you
used to
even
say
have-
it.
you have
And
a
now
special
you guys
jingle.
are making
Now
me
it actually makes a
time
point of
it.
not saying it.
Now it's like
But you got us into it, so it's your fault. Someone must be
stress is
blamed.
too much, man. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another Gabfest episode. And today we are discussing. Oh, before we say what we are discussing, but anyway, we are discussing broken promises, right? So we'll get into that a bit later, not later, now. But let's just do our hellos and our amens.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
How's it
It's okay.
clear?
Yo. It's a bit hectic today, but
We here.
You yeah?
in one piece.
Are you sure?
I think so.
The one piece was
Yeah, no, the nails were popping off. Yeah, but where am I looking at?
Is you? Anks, how are you?
Great, actually. I'm struggling to look alive, but I'm here and I'm ready for it. We're going to do this, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's my week two of getting makeup at home, so bear with me.
Guys, what's going on? Is it
It's-
the planets?
It's
What's happening with
I
us?
don't know. You're
No,
the zodiac girl. Tell us what did it
Mercury
say this morning?
retrograde starts today for the next month.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
now?
explain. to
That
us.
means that your communication, there's going to be issues with communication and usually like technological stuff. So if your phone crashes or if you send a screenshot to the person that you're talking about,
It's gonna go to that person.
Yes.
You're saying the stars is saying that. She's very into that.
Yeah, no, that's
so
her thing.
yeah, that's her thing.
So
I
yeah,
like those.
we learn.
We learn, yes. So recently I've been, if people send me suggestions or have you spoken about or those kind of things, we've been saying, come on, join us. If it's something you think women should speak about, let's speak about it, but join in on the conversation. So today, joining us in on the conversation is Madam's little wine store. And how you doing?
How you
Did you see what she looks like? Did you see what she looks like?
I shame.
Ons kyk
Shame,
te
eh?
veel TV.
guys, the queen died.
Yeah.
Sorry, no,
We
that
s-
was
you came late.
How
We
did I miss
had
that?
a
We
whole
had that
15-minute discussion.
We
with
want our diamonds back.
Wow, that sounds juicy. What did I miss?
She wants her diamonds back.
Well, I was actually telling Anko before the show that after leaving you guys on Wednesday, I felt so sick. Not because of you, but
It's that juice you wanted something. It was the juice.
it's the truth. So I was under the weather since Wednesday, and yesterday at rehearsals, I was like, getting hot flushes. I'm like, I need to go. So I left, and I'm like, yo, broken promises. I have to be here today.
Thank you.
To
Yeah.
the
Give you
world.
one of
Yeah.
Yay! So yeah,
you
I'm
mean
Lorraine.
you can't give the topic and not
not
fulfill.
come,
Yeah,
you know? So
Okay.
integrity, yeah. So I'm Lorraine, and thank you so much, guys, for having me on your show. I've been watching. I actually caught up last night with
Is it?
all your shows.
Oh wow.
Like, let me see how's the vibe.
A binge watch.
Yeah, binge watch.
Yeah, but thank you.
So yeah, our vibe is if it is your first time watching, we do the whole girl chat around the table. I'll get there. There's not really we do sometimes have structure, let's go here, let's go there, but many of the times, even with the structure, it's say what you want to say. It's mostly just women speaking around the table, and you guys can add your 10 cents in the comments or just be the fly on the wall. As some people do always say, did you hear? Did you hear? She did that. Did you hear? You can also watch for that reasons. It's fine if you want to know our personal,
As long as you
our
watch.
juice.
Yeah, as long as you watch.
As long as you watch. So my week is one of those weeks, but we are also here, almost cancelled, but we are here. So we will do justice. We'll try our best to do justice for today. So thank you so much for joining us. And today is broken promises.
Promise.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know that keeps going through my head.
What is it?
The song.
The song.
How does the song go?
Promises, promises.
Do they lisp in the song?
What's her name?
I don't remember. I just remember that part. The promise.
I saw it was
It's an
actually
old
trending.
song,
no?
yeah.
Ay, shame, man. Okay, so broken promises. We said that we in this, not in this order. We just add and go for it. So basically, I want to know from you guys. Even if you need to, Anka likes to. You should have given me 5 minutes to think. So think
I'm
the
last,
show.
I'm telling you
think
now.
the show alone. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just giving a breakdown, basically. So today we're basically discussing about broken promises. Has anybody ever promised you anything, as whether a child, whether adult, whether whatever, whenever it may have been, and they broke that promise, and how did that actually affect you? Even if it was, example, somebody promised you as a child, I'm going to buy you a bicycle, and you were 7 years old, and now you're in your 30s, and you're still like, if someone promises you something, you're like, I don't believe in promises. Show me before I believe it's going to happen. Are you someone that's like that? Have you ever overcame... Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Have you ever then gone through it and then you overcame? How did you overcome going through the feelings of broken promises? Or even, are you somebody that constantly breaks the promises? So, you look like...
I'm thinking now. We got to take some accountability, you know?
Yeah.
We
Let's
always
do it.
like that balance auntie here next to me. So, if somebody has
Not
broken...
sure I like this balance. I think, you know what? I need to be somewhere right now.
You don't like the balance. Someone must just break your promise. But have you ever broken somebody else's... a promise you made to somebody else? So would anybody like to go first, share an experience, or just speak about the topic itself? What's your thoughts around a promise in general? How do you guys feel if somebody does promise you something? Do you feel that if you promise me even something as small as I'm coming to you just now? Okay, I can even start now. I had this friend that she would say the whole week, I'm coming on Friday. I'm coming on Friday. I'm coming on Friday. You prepare the whole week. I'm coming on Friday. We decide, okay, we're going to make this. We're going to have this. We're going to chill. We're going to play these games. This one's coming. That one's coming. Friday, her phone is always off.
No.
And she does not pitch. Monday, she'll just give some story of, I'm so sorry. But no excuse as to why didn't you actually pitch. It's just the issue of, except that I didn't come. Had it happened once, I would have let you go.
Yeah.
But this was like at least once a month. You end up driving to the place you're supposed
No.
to meet at.
So she's not even coming to your house. It's just let's meet you.
It's a meet up somewhere.
No, even if it's at my house, she just doesn't pitch. She was somebody that was involved in my kid's life, and then she's supposed to come get the kid, and then on that day she just doesn't picture, and then you see on Instagram she's with someone else's kid, and then you're like, And for me, that broken promise, it added up, and I kept giving. My personality is, if you hurt me, I forgive you, and I'll act like nothing happened. And the relationship is literally as if you did not hurt me. That's how much I forgive. And then it happens over and over and over again, to the point where I was like, okay, I will forgive, but now you're out of my kid's life. So
Yeah, 'cause it affects
you're
them
no
a lot.
longer that person in their life anymore, because I'm not going to please explain where are you and why didn't you come and all those kind of things. But for me, that broken promise, now when I do have friends and they say, come, let's do something, I can tell you now, if we must meet 9 o'clock, 10 to 9, I'll sit in my pajamas until you'd say, okay, I'm leaving now. And then I'll jump up, because I'm at the point of, friends has done so much in terms of disappointing on what friendship actually is. You don't understand my personality when I'm trying so hard to understand your personality, and certain things like that, that it gets to a point where you're like, I'm over it. And that's affected me in my relationships today, where I'm still acting normal, but I have zero trust from day one. if that makes sense.
I remember my first, I was maybe 5, and my aunt told me, I'm taking you out on Saturday. I think it was my birthday or something. And I sat and I waited and waited and like watching the gate from the window, when is she coming? And I remember that like it was yesterday, like that's how much it affected me. But yeah, like when it comes to relationships and like friendships, I also, like you're saying, like you wait because you don't want to trust too quickly. Like even at, like a partner can say to you, okay, I'm going to do this for us, or next year this is happening, and then next year never comes.
Yeah.
Because when it's time, then it's like, oh yeah, next year we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But that's
So-
unfair. Don't you think on the next new relationship, it doesn't matter if it's your guy or another girlfriend, because everybody has to basically be given
Yeah,
a
you need
fair
the-
chance.
Yeah,
a
but you
clean
take
slate.
that baggage. You take that baggage with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
I think I'm weird in that sense though,
Uh.
because like I literally shut out. Because last night I was at like we and Xavier were having this conversation, and I was like, okay, you know, like me trying to think of a scenario, and I really couldn't really come up with a proper scenario. But now that you mentioned that, and I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. That happens to me all the time.
We're uncovering your traumas here.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because I shut it that far because I choose not to think about it. Because even with the friend that keeps on doing that, what that does to, what I think what that did to me was, now I just don't, we'll make plans, and if we said, no, let's meet up, I'm like, it's never going to happen, unless we confirm like the day before.
Yeah.
To say, okay, fine, look, we are going to meet. Then that's time. If we didn't meet, we'll just go on with our lives. And then Bob's your uncle. It's like that. The people that you made the plans with, they're also just living their own lives. They're doing something else. And like, but didn't we have plans for today?
I think that's what hurts the most.
Yeah,
is
like-
that people are so social media, like post your food, post this, post that, and then when you see that, it hits a bit deeper than
Yeah, we had
before
plans.
Instagram stories.
Yeah, because then you don't know where they are, what they're doing.
But now I know who you're with, I know where you are, and you're like,
At least like hide the story from me, but it's like you like showing me in my
there's-
face. Like,
There's no like let me show everyone except.
Yeah.
There's none of that. And I think I think subconsciously that's why I stopped looking at statuses completely. Like especially WhatsApp statuses. I don't. And people say, no, I posted it on WhatsApp. I'm like, no, didn't see it. No, because I literally don't look at WhatsApp status. Although I expect people to view
get you.
mine. You know. So I think that is the element. Like I think subconsciously you end up doing things that you wouldn't have generally done if you thought about it. Like. You know, and even like I had an experience like that as well, where I was dressed up, and it was that time, you know, when the scarves came, those V scarves that you tied around.
the one with the thingy is.
Yeah, the thing is that later on became head scarves. I
You know
remember.
that it looked like that Spanish one, mate.
Yes.
It wasn't actual material. It was like a net.
Yes.
Yeah. It came in red, white, black, yellow. You just
I had a
whatever
bluish
outfit you
hat
had on.
on.
It
So
can
I
be
don't.
was like,
yeah, I'm like, what?
We'll show it. It was a hit in our time, like when we were going from
Giving away your age,
from
yeah.
primary school. You know. I can remember it now that you mentioned it. And this lady had promised me she's going to take me to the movies. And I think my parents were trying to like, maybe she forgot that. They don't want to
Yeah,
make her
shame
look
they're
bad.
trying to like.
Yeah. So even leading up to, they tried to like make the situation go away, even leading
yeah,
up to the
like
day.
soften
on
the blow.
Yeah, and I was always excited, like, no, I'm going to the movie. She said she will. She said, till this day, that lady hasn't mentioned why she hadn't picked me up. Because I think it's those passing things where you think you promise a child and a child will forget.
Kids do not forget.
Kids
We
do.
don't.
My-
That's why I
Kids
say,
don't forget.
if you can't keep your promise, you're out of my childhood.
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Because my kids have this thing now, because when they ask for something and you know you can't, then you're like, no, month end. No, Taya has a thing where she says, no, mommy will get it for you month end. Don't worry, month end will come.
Now she's month ending. And you?
Sure, you actually also made me go into the archives.
Yeah,
Because I was
to the
like,
archives.
Yeah.
because I'm like, what? When? I'm like, I couldn't really get anything on my friends. It's like, I am that person that forgives and forgets. I literally forget. Because if I don't forget, I can't be your friend anymore. Like, I can't. So I was thinking, could it be like the online shoppers when we buy things and then whatever you get is not what you bought? That's a promise that's been broken.
Yeah.
It could be
What you
people.
bought, this is what you got.
It could be people that borrows money and promises you on
I'll
this
give it
certain
back,
day they'll bring it back, and
3
you plan
years
around
later.
it. And 3 years later, whatever. Okay, I don't wait that long. For me, if you don't give it within those couple of months, I let go. And
But
let
they
go.
say if you borrow money, you just don't expect it back.
Rather, ne?
But for
Yeah.
me, in that sense, I don't forget. And for me, forgiveness isn't forgetting. Forgiveness isn't reconciliation either. Me, I'll forgive you, but it's done.
Okay, but what
Yeah,
is
it's done.
forgiveness then?
You're
Yeah.
okay. When you see the person, you're okay.
No,
You're
but
okay with
this
the
is
person. You're not
what's
mad
not-
with the person. Like, we can have this conversation when we see each other, we can greet each other. we
That
can-
time
So
you're
you're not
thinking,
your
hey,
friend
this one.
anymore.
No, why?
Yeah.
Forgiveness isn't reconciliation. I don't have to be all good with you and call
that's
you
a good
up and
quote.
whatnot. So I
Yeah.
don't.
No,
but,
for me,
but when
if
I see
it's-
you, we're fine.
If it's my friend still, I have to forget. Because why am I going to hold
Yeah,
on
because
to
then you
something?
can't. If you didn't actually forgive. If you're gonna
Yeah.
hold on, because that happens a lot in relationships where you say I forgive you, but every time a fight comes up, you bring that
That back.
issue
So
back
did
all
you
the time.
actually
So you
forgive?
didn't forgive because you
Yeah.
didn't forget it. So there is a fine line, but I also think it's based on personality, that fine line.
Yes.
So whether you forgive and forget, I'm the person that forgives and forgets.
Rather.
You can come tomorrow and speak to me like nothing happened, and I'll speak to you the same way as
not
well.
pretend,
and
you
not
like
pretend,
literally.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I can forgive and forget, and then also act like nothing happened, and then the one that you're actually forgiving is the one that treats you funny, side eyes
they
you,
feel
and
bad.
then it's
feel
like,
bad.
guys, can we not just go on with life?
Yeah. So my one that resonated though is actually a sad one because it's about the children.
Okay.
I have one child. So myself and the dad obviously parted many years ago. So I'm not angry at him or anything like that, but we are not friends. I'm normally friends with my exes, like
Okay.
2 exes. I don't have many exes because I'm that committed one. And when
Yeah.
I'm single, I stay single for the longest time. And I'm okay with that, you know. So, but the thing that irks me more is when you promise something to a child because they believe you and
Yeah.
wholeheartedly and they get so excited and stuff like that. So because he's not in her life, when he does it, I'm left with a disappointed child. I'm left with fixing what he messed up. Like he didn't have to say what he said to
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
good or to sound good. Because these kids, they grow up and they that foundation that he is laying down is like, it's okay to say this and not act on it. Do you understand? It
Yeah.
becomes like a principle to a child, although she's disappointed that time, but it's a fruit, actually a seed that he
Seed.
plants that she's going to actually do when she's older. Because like, I'm used to this.
Yeah.
Isn't this normal?
Or think
This
it's
is how
okay
it's
if a partner in the future does it and
Yes.
says, no, this
Yes.
is normally supposed to say that, but not follow through with it.
Exactly. So now, without bad mouthing him, because that's not the core function of
vibe,
my role in her life, it's just to say, you know what, girl, it's really not about you. You must tell him how you feel and that he shouldn't make any promises anymore if he can't be accountable for it. And he must maybe just explain why he didn't do what he did.
How old is she?
She's 12.
That's
And
a
they-
good age to start teaching that also.
I-
It's like to
I-
communicate, because it's difficult, like if you're disappointed in someone, to actually come out and say, you know what, this hurt me, or
Yeah.
you shouldn't have done that, or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's one thing I'm teaching my child all the years. Talk.
Yes. Yes.
You
Read
have
the-
to talk.
Yeah,
We love
read their
that.
comment, their experiences quickly.
Okay, so we've got Sonia Foster, Lady S. Hello. Hello, ladies. Looking forward to the show. It's been a while. I didn't watch. Then Veronica Goliath says, I've always wanted to study journalism, and my study for the 2 years was 120,000 Rand. My stepmother promised to give the money. My dad had left me. The whole of grade 12, I was excited just for there to be no money. Yo. And then Sonia Foster says again, Lady S, sometimes we make broken promises even to ourselves, and the more you're doing it to yourself, the easier you will do it to someone else. That's very true.
Yeah.
And then Veronique says, if I had to get back all the money I've borrowed, people and forgot about it, I'd be able to pay my house, car, school fees for 3 months.
True story. But that is one thing, though. I also know somebody close to me that was promised to go study, and then when the time came that they now have to study, the person already used the money that was left
That's a
for
very
them.
serious broken
Yeah.
promise.
That
yeah.
is.
But
So
that's another
that's
topic that you guys
fraudulent,
must
actually.
have, having wills.
Yeah, walls is a big thing.
Have a
No
wall.
matter your age,
No
because
matter your
a big
age.
thing is we wait until we're 80 to have a wall.
Yeah.
God forbid you can get in an accident now. And then what? I was laughing at my one friend that when we were speaking about worlds the other day, and she's like, they will see in the world who looks after my child, but there's no communication because the child must also know and have a relationship and all those kind of things with the person they're going to live with, because that change.
Like that person.
Exactly.
But is that not the purpose of godparents? Did you guys choose your godparents?
Godparents
Like
is a myth of the ages past, guys.
No,
Not
I have
in 2022.
I have a brilliant godparent.
Yeah, you're the exception. You're the exception to the rule.
I have a brilliant godparent.
Hi Shay, but even my kids have had a godparent that has been coming through for years. So yes.
Okay.
But I think it's fun. I mean, growing up for us, if I ask my parents, who's my godparent, my parents time, I'm like, huh? How did that happen? Like, when? How? I've never even seen them in my life. Like, I saw pictures of them. And kind of they lived in the same vicinity that we lived in. Like, we could have seen each other. But remember, it's the godparents' responsibility to sort of like, to reach out and want to build a relationship with the child.
Yes.
Because the child is a child.
But it is also the parents' responsibility, because, like, God forbid, the way that I'm saying now, God forbid you die. You can't just expect your child now to go and move in with a new family and expect them to be okay.
Yeah.
As parents, you also need to be able to mold your kids for the unexpected, so that when that does happen.
Yeah, but also at the same time, that's what I'm saying, like, as a godparent, it's important for them to reach out to the child, because I can't shove my child down your throat. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like,
but when you agree to be a godparent,
yes, I was just going to say,
what does it entail?
But I also think a lot of people don't know what it means. I think people just like the title.
They just want to feel special.
I think people like the title.
I suppose.
So we went totally off topic for a while now, so let's just jump back, please. So you shared your experience with the father. You shared your experience, friends and relationship. Your aunt, which is family.
Yeah.
You shared your experience in different forms. So I also wanted to bring up something in terms of, it's easy because when we spoke, Lorraine, your main thing was, have you guys ever spoken about or had someone on the show who maybe was engaged, and then before the wedding a partner breaks it off, and the minute there's engagement, that is a promise we're going to be together forever kind of a thing. Then you can take it to divorce as well. You can say that in a marriage we promised till death do us part, and then maybe someone cheats, there's a lot of things that could be a broken promise. Then there's also the side of where you don't know, basically, I don't know how to explain it, but when somebody expects something from you and you don't really realize you the person that you made that promise, because sometimes you speak in no, but you mean it so light-hearted in your promise, and the person takes it so seriously, like, no, they said they're going to sort me out with I'm thinking of not a stupid example, but an example. Let's say a job, for example. You meet someone and they're like, oh no, I know somebody that can get you this, you can do it by this time, all you need is this, all you need is that, send me this, send me that, and you send your stuff, and this person maybe spoke out of, they know Anka's sister's brother in conversation was speaking.
They didn't mean it like
They didn't mean it like, I know the person personally or something like that.
You're right.
And then you don't know that somebody's looking at you like that you broke the promise. You promised me a job. You promised me there's an opportunity. You promised me, all these kind of things. I sent my CV because that day you said, send your CV. Even though you didn't ask again, I took it because, it's also the person looking for the job that does the effort. So you just automatically send your CV and everything. And now you at home, you're like, huh? Why is Anka sending me a CV? So there's also that aspect.
Us as people, like the receiver or vice versa. If I ask you for your CV, don't expect the job. I asked you for the CV and leave it there. Like with us people, we always build our own castles.
But that's what I'm saying. So you don't know that you actually promised, because that
You're not
person's
promising it.
exactly. But the person else's expectation is that it's.
I think
that's not on you though.
But you see, that's the thing. Like, I'm responsible for what I say. I'm not responsible for how you interpret
Exactly.
it. However, I think that's where especially because I've had many broken promises in my business line here, my side hustle, where people are like, oh no, I want this, please keep it for me for a month end or whatever, stuff like that. where I'm upfront now, I'll say. I had a situation like that where someone asked me, is there a way I need a job? This is what happens. I said, okay, fine, send me your CV. So I said, I can't promise you anything because I have to submit the CV. So I can maybe, put in a good word for you, but I can't promise you. The same way where I've taken a stance where people ask me, please can I have this? And then I go look for the stuff and they're like, oh, but I can't take it now. Month end, can you keep it for me? And I've had situations where people are like, come on, then, oh, no, you know what, I don't think I want it anymore. Like, no, I have developed heavy trust issues in that regard. But in order to safeguard you and me, now I'm upfront. I say, unfortunately, I won't be able to keep it for you. If it's still here, you can have it. Or, whenever I have a conversation, even we had a situation in the week, and then I said, but I can't do this. I had to consciously make a decision to say, okay, fine, what are the terms? What am I able to bring to the table? And then let the other person know. Because people they see, oh, you promised, but you said.
And I think, if I may, people are like advantage, Fatne. Say, for instance, if they go and buy things online, they pay immediately.
Yeah.
But if you selling things, they want the things first and then pay later. I don't do that. For me, you give me the money and I say the money confirms your order.
Your order.
You'll get your order within 7 to 14
and
days or whatever.
I think that is a good promise with an agreement in contract. But I think people, because you have a good relationship, or you speak, or you have you can contact this person directly. I think people view it differently because, like Anya, they'll understand, or they'll see it the way that I do. And I think that's something we as people take for granted, which is where that comes from.
But I also just feel like if you have that relationship with a person, you should be even more willing to support them properly instead of saying...
Yeah, it's a nice notion.
It is. But going back to your
I
question,
was just about to say, let's go back to the question.
Yeah, going back to your question is that we need to be cognizant as people to the Bible says the tongue is scared. Ne? So if you are happy, because sometimes we make promises when we're very happy.
Yeah, very happy.
Like, yo,
It's the drunk uncle that makes the promise. And, because it could be you as a child is taking all of that in as he said.
Yes, but I think at that time, at that moment, you're really truthful in what you are saying. You mean it. Like, I will help you. I will do this for you. I can be there that time, pick you up, whatever. But tomorrow, when the real life moments kicks in, reality, your reality, like, yo. But I think if you realize that you really can't commit to whatever you said, the nicest thing is just to be honest. And
Upfront,
just contact that person and say, Uncle Vichi, I was so happy. But I need to withdraw.
As opposed to ghosting the person,
don't ghost me.
The part I'm bringing across is not, I told you this is a promise now. I'm saying there is an aspect where you don't realize how someone else is depending on you. And to you, it might not be a big deal. But to that person, let's use an example like a birthday party. Let's say it's my birthday party. Okay, wait, let me take it to something personal, even, which isn't a promise per se, but it has some sort of effect in terms of...
You said something.
Something, exactly. Let me use this as an example. Okay, so I've always felt like I'm always at the back of the family, right?
Okay.
There's situations you deal with, people don't know who you are. We always speak about it on the show, where people doesn't know Evangelique exists. They think Anka's the daughter, those kind of things, right? So that develops something. And then there's people that promise us something in terms of when this happens, I'm going to be your biggest supporter. God just needs to this, God needs to that. And then when something comes to pass, and all that, I'm going to be there for you. And, okay, so me using the example as everybody knows I'm a PK. The example of I've always felt like I'm at the back. Nobody worries who you are, those kind of things. And you have your support group that knows that that's how you actually feel. But then now I got the opportunity to be the PK in a sense of furthering what the other kids did, right? Okay. And your support structure is missing. Absolutely no support. Absolutely no, you did well. Absolutely no, I enjoyed this, I took that, I did that. But when it's the success of other things in the people that your circle is. You're always there for support. You're always there. And it's not a said, I promise. So
It's an
support,
expectation.
it's an expectation, because that's also a promise. I'm always there for you. You promised every time we speak and I flourish in my business, you're going to be the person next to me. Every time I speak about one day I want to be a designer, you said, yo, girl, you're going to be able to do it, you this, you that. But when time comes to play and it happens, that's the kind of part I'm saying, where it's not spoken promises.
I understand.
But
Where you
it's
actually
a-
use the words, I promise.
Yeah, because promises don't work like that. When somebody
So-
does take you out, they don't say, I promise I'm going to be there 4 o'clock. You get what I'm
But
saying?
I think
I do that.
what you I think where
Maybe I
you're
should
getting
stop.
at is, I think, more the expectation that is created in someone else, like.
So exactly.
And that
But
person
I
views
don't
it
know that
that
that's their expectation.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to explain, and then we went a bit off. But I'm trying to get to the point where me as a person, I also need to take responsibility in terms of, if I mess up, it's also an unspoken promise that I wasn't there at the needed time or the expectation of the others. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So that's what I'm saying. What's your guys' take? Has it happened to you where you have been that person where you don't realize? If I can go to something a bit more simple, let's say us four is best friends and I'm having a birthday party. And we're all excited, yo, when it's your birthday this year, we're going to do A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Now I plan a dinner. We didn't promise it. We've always just spoken.
Yeah.
When it's your birthday, we're going to go to Thailand. When it's your, Thailand. When the birthday comes, and then the person maybe just says, I can't go, finances. But we've been planning it for a year. Do you see how it's an unspoken promise, but you don't stick with the promise?
So it's basically not sticking to a commitment that you made. What?
I think it's just failed expectation, like you as a person, because remember that there was no promise that was said. However, an expectation was created, and I think something like that, it does create trust issues, because you're like, maybe we're not seeing eye to eye, but you're not communicating about it, because remember there was no communication in terms of a promise, but you feel some sort of way, because you feel like, this person let me down, because I was there when I did this, and I was there for this person, but now that it's my turn, the person isn't there. And I think there's two sides to that story in terms for me, because I feel like sometimes you need to question your motive in terms of why you do something, because are you doing it with the expectation of reciprocation, like that person must return it, but you're not having this conversation. And then there's the other thing of whether are you communicating well with this other person? I think for me, in terms of that, and it's difficult because this is life. We get disappointed. You feel some sort of way regardless, because it's life. It's not like you set out to say, okay, fine, this person is my best friend, and whatever they do, this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I think it's a funny one, that one, because it's difficult in terms
I
of.
actually just had a memory now, sorry. I think it might be like in line with what you're saying. So I used to have a friend where we were like best friends. But I always felt that when I wanted to make plans with her, or if I have something, she never comes.
But at the end of the day, like I say, my friend coming, if we make plans, right? If I put in the group chat, guys, lunch 12 o'clock at 3, nobody replies, I promise I will be there. I promise I'll be there 10 to 4. I promise. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You don't have to say it's a promise. And I think that's where I'm trying to get at, because I feel like obviously when it comes to finances and things, that's an unsaid promise.
Yeah, but it's still a
But
promise.
it's still a promise.
Yeah.
It's the same with let's meet up. It's an unsaid promise, but it's your promise is now the relationship.
So basically what makes a promise? If I went through some videos yesterday, and on the t-shirt of this guy it said, because I said it, I would. So we must be very
Yes.
basically it's integrity.
Yeah.
Moenie net woorde laat gaan nie, man. Don't just say something that you know you're not going to do.
Yeah.
But also with the friends, you should know your friends. First of all, you must have people in your circle with the same principles, values, because if that is not balanced, then you will get such things. Because if you say something to me, you don't have to say, okay, it's a promise, to make it a promise.
But that,
Yeah.
the fact that I'm saying it says I'm committing to something.
Exactly, the
But
fact that you
sorry,
said it.
my issue with that, and I always say it on every show, right? You can't say that's why you must choose your friends properly, because you'll only know once it's happened
It must happen once.
that it's not the
It
right
must
friend.
happen
Really
once.
cancelled.
Yes, if it's that deep, if it's that
it's
deep
that
and you
deep.
can't forget. Remember what she said earlier on. She just lets go. Yes, I still said I forgive and I forget and I still have you in my life. So you must have your mother and them had the topic of boundaries. That's where you come in with your personal boundaries to say, okay, fine.
That's why I said it's based on personality.
It is based on personality, but personality.
What you're willing
and
to accept, because
boundaries.
your characteristics and stuff like that, your boundaries, for you to have your boundaries, there's some boundaries that is like, no, if you don't this, then that, if this, that. But there's some boundaries of like what we're speaking about in terms of hurt.
Yeah.
That it's your personality based on how you deal to put those boundaries up. If my personality is over forgiving, the wall will always have a hole in. Because people
There
will
will be
always
no
still
boundaries.
Exactly. But how
boundaries are
far
not
is your
set.
boundaries? Now your boundaries could be that where you say you civil.
Yeah.
You say hello and walk away. But
Yes.
then you get the boundaries of don't even look at me.
I just think that
Then you get the boundaries of blocking.
I think that's rude. Wait, blogging is just. I'm sorry.
boundaries
Yeah,
based on personality.
I get what you're saying, but we need to be mature about this. So blocking, I'm sorry, guys. That's just.
That's
For me, that's immature. I'm sorry, because also see, we are in high school. However, when it comes to being rude, like that's just rude. Because for me, I'm not two-faced by greeting you. I'm not being two-faced or whatever. I'm not being false. I'm being civil. We grown people. We mature people. I really have no ill feelings. So other people, like you said, don't have that. They literally ignore you, or they look away, or they look at you and they look away. But I think that is
Or you just see you don't see WhatsApp statuses anymore.
I think that has a lot to do with maturity, though. That, for me personally, is in the boundaries of maturity. But when it comes to certain boundaries, in terms of I'll greet you, whatever, that doesn't mean I'll call you up the whole time and say, hi, how are you doing? Can we hang out? That's not a boundary for me. But when we sit there, say we all meet at the conference. And now it just so happens that we're everyone's standing there together now. We all sit together. That's fine. There's not an issue with that. But it's not like I was calling you up, hey, girl, are you coming? Listen, let's sit here. Let's meet up here. We're wearing this. It's not that type of thing.
But then it also, like you're saying, it can depend on personalities from the other end, where it's like, okay, she greeted me, so it means that we're fine.
okay.
Yeah.
We are okay. We're just not friends. But we're okay.
Okay.
we're not deep conversating here. We're okay.
Another question on that. I'm not too sure if we really answered you, but
We're trying, though. We're
trying
trying.
to get there. It's about the
You don't have
value.
to answer. Just let the
It's about the
conversation go.
value that you place on the friendship or
Yeah.
the person or whatever commitment that you made, unsaid or really made that commitment. All of us here, if something is very important to you, you will make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I always say that.
Do you understand?
And if you
Yeah.
really can't, you will make a point of voicing it.
Exactly. So
Making
there's-
them understand, yeah.
Yeah. So if obviously somebody doesn't come to your birthday party or whatever lunch, they didn't value that moment. It's sad and it's hurtful.
Which is
So are we saying that a commitment and a promise is the same thing?
Yes, a commitment
goes
is a
hand in
promise.
hand.
it's a promise.
Because if you say something, what is the essence of a promise? What is the
Besides saying I promise.
besides saying it? Saying it is just saying it.
And if pinky promises exist.
Well, that was our younger selves.
Yeah.
I still make pinky promises.
No, I don't know. I haven't made a pinky promise in years.
Okay, so this video had the step-by-step thing for you that's breaking the promise, I think. Was it when someone breaks a promise? Okay, so say, Vinch, you break the promise. The question I must ask you, ne,
Oh, so
is-
this is now us
A conversation
sorting
between
it
the
out.
we're sorting it out.
Okay.
This is Lorraine being all vocal like she
Okay.
always is, ne? So I say, Vinch, friend, please tell me why you broke the promise. Or maybe the word promise doesn't need to be there. I can just ask you, Vinch, what
Why
happened?
didn't you?
Yeah. Eh? So now you
Check
explain.
in.
Yeah. Let's pretend it's the birthday thing.
Yeah, let's pretend
and it
it's
was
the
my
birthday.
birthday
Yeah.
that you didn't come to. I avenged girl, ma, it was so. Why didn't you come to my birthday lunch? I expected you to come
be,
because you're my friend. What would you say?
Well, that's difficult because I don't do. I'm that one that is.
So rather
Ek kom nog
avoid
met
the
'n gift ook.
rather avoid the conversation or the confrontation.
Yeah, I
Me-
feel like if I didn't do something, I would have said beforehand, okay, I'm not going to be able to.
So let's say the scenario is you didn't say
You didn't say anything.
You didn't pitch. You didn't do anything.
Start with an apology, I would say.
Yeah, I was about to say. So you asking us
And
to
own up to
answer.
it.
So we broke
Yeah.
your promise.
You
Yeah,
broke the
own up
promise,
to
so
it.
let's see.
For me, I'll come out and I'll say sorry, and I'll be completely honest. It slipped my mind, or the kids. I'll be completely honest. I'll out myself, because I feel like if you weren't doing anything with the time, you just didn't come. Then
Yeah.
say it, because people can see through your corny excuses. People can hear it and they're like, you know what? Just spare me. Don't insult me with
And
that.
we all, what do you call the policeman? The NC, what's of Instagram?
Yeah, no, we are. We
We
are.
will know where you were,
We are
what
higher
time, what were
grade
you-
tertiary education in that degree. So for me, because I feel like I can see through your corny excuses, that's me. I'd rather you hear what I had to say, and I'm sorry, I did forget, and we were just at home. I'm sorry, it wasn't what I meant to do.
So does it make it better? Because according to this whole video, just an apology doesn't make it.
I don't think, because anybody can just say
Yeah,
sorry and be
because
done.
other people just say, I'm sorry, or others from that day are not your friends anymore.
Make it up to them. Say,
Yeah.
okay, maybe let's do this next
Yeah.
week, and then actually do it.
That's what this person actually said. You
Is it?
need to follow through with another commitment. And
But now you
actually
break
commit.
that commitment also.
No, if you break it now, then it's finished. Okay. Then we go to Anka.
Then you clearly didn't. Yeah, look, then you clearly didn't. Look, Aisha, I'm not saying I'll cut you off for the first time. I'm just saying.
So
Yeah.
You reached that point, you're just like, I've forgiven you, ma.
is there still more on
Ciao,
that
Bella.
before I
You
move
guys
on?
actually answered
The others.
everything
In that
accordance
section.
As we went
with-
along.
and
Okay,
the
so-
accountability
We got it
she
covered.
mentioned.
She mentioned.
earlier on.
Okay, so I want to bring in the aspect of, we spoke about friends, we spoke about relationships before it happens maybe. Now I want to bring in, okay, you can speak if you guys is in serious relationships, if you have been in serious relationships before, but then there's a marriage aspect as well, right? You could, like, even maybe you can say with you having lived with your ex or something like that, how far does it go in terms of you in such a serious relationship? It's a long-term relationship, whether it be marriage or not. You live together, marriage or not. But now you make promises, like you said, for the future or something. Or let's say there's promises that, okay, on Saturday night we're going to do this with the kids, and then something else happens, or we're going to go on a date, just you and me. You
Okay.
know, everything else around it goes, but then something else pops up. What does that do to you? And it happens a bit more often than it should. Then there's the aspect of, okay, I said just now, the promises of we're in a relationship till death do us part, and then one cheats. How do you deal with that? Because you broke the promise, right? Then there's aspects of something as small as, you promised you're going to wash the dishes tonight, but you as a wife is still washing the dishes tonight.
Yeah, that's a big one, eh?
Even those small things, what does that do to your personality as time goes? Not you taking it to the next relationship, but you as a
How do you
person.
deal with it
How
now?
is it affecting you now? How do you get over it now? And are you even over it?
I think it's important to be self-aware in those moments, because sometimes we think that something is not affecting us until it's happened over and over and over, and then it's forming a certain belief that you have about, maybe you're blaming yourself for the fact that they're not keeping their promises, and then you tell
That's the
yourself,
one thing I wanted in the insecurity part of
yeah,
it.
or it starts to affect the trust that you have in other people. Like you're saying, like you were saying earlier, that it's not fair to the next person, but sometimes maybe unintentionally we feel like this person, like, I can't rely on them, because I feel like I'm learning that for me it's very important to be able to rely on a partner. If I choose you, I need to know I can count on you for something, or for everything. If, like, I'm not somebody that asks for a lot, but I just need to know that.
The one thing I do ask for.
Yeah.
Are you going to be there?
Mm.
Well, I recently got to a situation where stuff like that drive us to counseling. Because what it does is, and the crux of that is, it first of all, it creates trust issues, because you're like, I'm asking you, you're saying I'm your priority, but am I really? Because I've asked you, but you clearly didn't listen. You're not present in this conversation. And why are you not present in this conversation? I mean, we are a partnership. I must be present. Why are you not present? So now I'm like, where's your mind at? work, whatever, and why is that a priority? Our family should be priority. And the thing is, because men and women don't think the same and they don't use the same words, then maybe he'll say, you know what, and I lose it. I lose my cool. So I will be in the conversation, but I just asked you to wash the dishes. I lose my cool after like a couple of times, and I lose my cool.
Yeah.
Now it's an argument, right? Now it's an argument. So now the explanation is how, but I was just then minding my own business. So I'm saying, what? How are you minding your own business here when we are busy here? Do you get what I'm saying? Because I asked you, but I didn't hear you. I'm like, how did you not hear me? So it creates that I am not a priority. So now, why am I not a priority? Then I think that leads into the insecurities as well. And I think because we don't speak about it, we think, this is just how it should be. So when it comes to a point of contention, when it comes to a point where like, I've lost my cool now, and now like, but you're being disrespectful. It's like, but this must has a root cause. It came from somewhere.
Yeah.
It started somewhere. It's like, so why are we treating the symptoms? Let's go back to the root of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to, I've never really had the experience of being promised like a date out or whatever. I'm always the instigator because I must post the kids like do you want to babysit today? That kind of vibe. So I've never really had that experience. But I think about the little things in the house, like when you ask, please pick up your socks, please do that, please, and you're like,
next day you wake up in the morning and the sock is still there.
yeah, and then still have the audacity to say, yeah, but I didn't expect you to pick it up. You have a Togo here at the house. You have a Maria. What? So I think that creates that you feel, you start feeling disrespected, and I think you start feeling...
That's a good one. I wanted to say that also. It ends up, for me, broken promises ends up to, you don't respect me.
Yes.
And it ends up to, men is so, you must respect, you be careful how you speak to a man, They always say the biggest thing is respect. You can do anything, but as long as you respect me. And I feel that a woman's disrespect comes from the parts of, you said we're going to do this, even though it was just the by the way talk. I mean, it's something as simple as if you said, you always spoke like for a whole year, for my birthday, when I turn 30, I want to, when I turn 40, I want to, when, we've always discussed it, when I turn this age, this is my plans. And then the day before, you're sitting and wondering, I wonder what we're doing for my birthday. And do you know what I'm trying to say? And those kind of things, to women, I feel, that broken promise leads to a woman feeling disrespected, right? And once you feel disrespected, it leads to the insecurities, like you said, about where is your priorities then? Or am I not doing something right that somebody keeps breaking the promise?
Yeah.
Or what's wrong with me? Why couldn't that promise be kept? What was so important that it couldn't be done? Or what's my worth if I asked you to wash the dishes and now I'm still ending up washing the dishes? It slowly works on your womanhood, if I can say that. But for me personally,
And also it builds resentment.
it builds resentment towards
Especially if
the
you don't-
partner if you don't deal with it.
Yeah.
You will just wonder why there's no conversation ever or something like that, which then leads to the counseling part of things. But for me personally, I deal with it in a funny, I'm very, I don't like the whole confrontation. If I said something once and I spoke nicely, I just keep quiet and I let it go.
How?
And I start singing
Singing.
I start singing, when a woman stops crying, you best believe she found a new
But
plan.
this whole thing, me and
A nice subtle
That's how,
threat we have there.
not in like you can hear me.
Oh.
I comfort myself with the, I'm crying in this situation now and it's
Yeah.
making me feel like this. So maybe there's still love. Not maybe, there is still love, but when I stop crying, best believe I found a new plan.
May I say something?
Yeah.
We're not married yet.
No.
So, just in general, we're talking about the two of you. So, for me, it goes down to how these men or women grew up, right? So, if this person was always spoiled, everything was done for them. Their mothers or their fathers always spoiled
The
them. Hulle het 'n togo
grandparents.
gehad, hulle het grandparents had. So the foundation already is not good. Because now when you marry this person, né, and you now expect them to do the dishes or to pick up the socks and to do that and to do that, because it was never instilled in them. It will take either forever or it will never ever get there. for them to do what you expect them to
Don't
do.
do that to yourself.
And now you're now gonna be not a wife anymore, but like a mother. Because now you now telling them what to do. You're an adult.
Yeah, there's a lot of women that say, I don't have 2 kids, I have 3. But then
Yeah.
they're speaking about the husband.
Yeah.
But then also the frustration comes in where the woman, maybe if you grew up differently, or maybe you grew up the same, where you need to get to an agreement to say, okay, fine, we come out of a house where both of us were spoiled, but now we are staying here.
Yeah.
Now we
We
still
need-
both need to be spoiled.
We need to come to an agreement and be honest. I don't like washing dishes personally. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it
Bane of my
so
existence.
As long
much.
as I have Netflix.
I really do. I need to think about it and, like, you know, get the confidence to go and do those dishes because,
Same.
yeah. So with Ora's dad, when he was still in my life, I would always say, dude, I can cook. Please do the dishes. So we had that agreement. You do the dishes, I cook. Because he liked doing the dishes because that's how he grew up. He cleaned his mother's house. That's the information what you with grey ladies.
Yes.
Like, are
I'll
you
check
gonna
Yes.
are you gonna be willing to sit up with this man? Because that is 'n man, is amper sy DNA. Hy maak ook nie asper as 'n shame. Dit is maar nog net wie hy is. So it's either you're gonna get Togo to come in the morning.
But
and
then
wash
make that
those
agreement.
dishes.
I think yes. I
Yes.
think make that agreement because for the
Yes.
sanity of your relationship,
Yes.
you're going to have to make some moves because yes, you have to create your own culture. But the most important thing, especially because I think the communication between women and men are so different, is to if you must go to a counselor, go to a counselor because a lot of the times you're saying something, then you get to the counselor, you tell the counselor exactly what you were saying the whole time. But just the way they relate, and the person, then, you know, your partner's like, oh, that's what you were saying. Makanti, I said the exact same thing. You know, because we communicate so differently. Because I think a lot of men think that women can't be disrespected because the notion was always that women need love and men need respect. So a lot of them say, but you're not a man, you can't be disrespected. But yes, we can. And
But broken promises is also a form of
Not this.
love.
Of what?
Like no, meaning other way around.
Yeah, I was
if
about to
you
say.
keep your promise, it's a form of love,
Love,
to a
yes.
woman. If you break that promise, it's a form of
So-
you don't love me.
So if I'm asking you to do the dishes and you say yes,
How do you
have
ask
entered
it-
into a promise
How
agreement.
do you ask it a second time? Because Lady S mentioned something very important in, I think it was Wednesday. When is your mother's show?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
She said even in the boardroom, because men, it was about leadership and all those gooders, it's how you talk to people and how you ask your guy to do certain things, even the dates, anything. It's ashita hashes and
They
they're
don't
gonna
say-
react
Yeah.
Yeah.
towards what you are giving them. So their reaction to your action is not always nice. So learn how your man operates and speak to that
I
character.
disagree with
But-
that
so
to an
why?
extent.
So here's the
Okay,
thing.
that's
Here's the thing. A
interesting.
lot of the times we do start off, and I think a lot of women go and
Yes.
start off nicely,
Soft.
and it just doesn't get done. Now that's when you get a bit pushy about it, and I think that's where things go awry. But how about now? Why are we not sorting out the root cause of this? What is the root cause? We stop treating the symptom. Let's go back to the root of it. And so, okay, fine. I did ask you, and I asked you nicely. Were you paying attention? No, I wasn't paying attention. Okay. So why are we not paying attention when we are in a certain sphere? And I think that goes to any and all relationships, even when you're just in a friendship. Sometimes your friend is like, oh, I didn't even hear you say that. Why are you not hearing me say that when we are in an enclosed conversation, we are having a conversation? How are you not paying attention to what we're saying? Am I not important to you? I think that goes across the board with any
Now-
That's
relationship.
what I was trying
But
to
that,
say.
you can say exactly
No,
what you want to say,
but-
but differently.
I
No,
hear what you're saying.
even with in the bounds of respect, if you are not in the bounds of respect, if you are not paying attention, you're not gonna do it, and that is going to cause that you disappoint someone.
Unlike saying, you're not paying attention, for me, I would rephrase and say, I feel that you are really not paying attention when I
That
speak to you.
doesn't, to be honest, now in marriage it doesn't work like that. For me, I feel like now, as much as you know, can I get to, sorry, I don't mean it as raw as I'm going to say it now, but I'm sick and tired of people always telling women, understand the man. Why must we always as women understand how to speak to a man, understand that keep your anger in right now and speak respectfully. Even if I don't want this to happen now, I need to keep my voice calm. I need to, do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm at the point when I'm so tired. That's how when we spoke the other day, I don't want a man on the show to come and tell women how they need to change for women to get into a relationship, right? Because I feel like everything women is told, it's they have to change their personality to adapt to a man. And that even within a marriage, that's how you slowly start losing who you are, because you're always conscious about how he wants to be treated. And now I change me because that is how he must be treated. But I feel it comes to the point where, like you say, if you speak once, you then also know my personality. If I've been saying for a year, if Anka's my husband, Anka, I want to go to Thailand when I turn 30. You're telling me, in the conversation we're laughing, I can't wait to turn 30, I want to go to Thailand. At the dinner table, you know, this year I really want to go to Thailand. You're never going, I really want to go to Thailand when I'm 30. Do you know what? You are so useless. I want to go. Do you get what I'm trying to say? There is a form of promises that is made in marriage that doesn't have the anger part, in terms of, understand my wife wants me to do this right now. Then as a man say, you know what, I'm just finishing off this. It must be in tomorrow at work. And then can I do it? But now what happens is you don't say anything. You have your beats on your ears. You're going on with your life. I come back 2 hours later. Nothing has been done. There was nothing from you saying, okay, I'm going to go now. Because let's keep in mind, when a man says, I'm hungry now, what does a woman do? We jump up and we go make food immediately, because it's an unsaid promise. As a wife, I need to put food on the table. We didn't sign a contract on our wedding day. Evangeline cooks. It is a promise. When we say, I promise to love until death do us part, nowhere does it say, I promise to cook. Now that do you get what I'm trying to say? With
that light, I'm never cooking again.
No, but do you get what I'm how I'm bringing unsaid promises in now, right? So there is certain things that woman is told, it's automatic. A woman washes the dishes, a woman this, a woman that, right? So there's unsaid promises that in a relationship, there's things a woman does, right? But there must also be an unsaid promise from a guy that if you're not going to communicate in terms of, okay, she asked me to do this. If I'm not going to get up right now and go do it, at least say, okay, I'm working on this. It's going to take at least 3 hours. Are you okay to wait for 3 hours and then I'll do it?
I agree.
So do you get where I'm trying to say, wait, I feel like when it gets to the point of shouting,
there was
it already went wrong.
Journey.
But before it can get wrong, we can get to the point where we can also tell men, this is how we communicate.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Okay. So just to jump on that one is the resolve that I've made, that as much as I need to learn to respect my husband, or I must respect my husband, language is here that's being spoken. So I must learn your language, and fine, we've gotten to that point because that has been drilled into us as women. But that language needs to be reciprocated. Take the time to learn my language.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So yeah. So can I just bring this in real quick? Kimberlyn Joel says that why must women always learn how a man operates and does things, but when will men learn how to understand women, which is the point you were driving across? And Vera Nicolai says, just like people want women to understand men, so men should understand women. Men should always understand that housework is not a woman's work. Those who live in the house share the responsibility.
Yes.
So, and I think, the other day, me and Xavier were having this conversation, and I said to him, it's been 8 years. You know, I don't not get to mom. I don't not get to wife. I don't. Do you get what I'm saying? I must come to work. I must mom. I must. And these are 4 jobs. You would pay someone to come in and clean the house, and it's the bane of my existence. I don't like. I'd rather come into work. It's easier, you know. And then when the kids come home, you must be a mother, because the kids go, mommy, 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 mommy. I'm like, you have a father. He's there. He's right next to you.
It's a lot.
You know, it's a lot of these things, and then there's still an expectation from the husband as well. And you say that, okay, fine, we've allowed it. because this is the culture that you've created, because you must do this, because this is how we get taught, you must be doing this, you must do that. And now you
Of and like get to ask the right questions, how they were raised, and know what they can do. Because if you're expecting somebody from someone that they're unable to provide for you, like I think women also need to get into this thing where you cannot change a man. You can't mold him into something that, okay, in some
Why
cases
is
I
it so
guess.
easy
but
to
then
mold
you can't change a
woman?
woman.
Why is it so easy to mold a woman to do what the man wants?
Stop
How
it,
many
it's going
times have
way
you
off.
seen couples and you look at the girl and you're
I
like,
think
"Sure,
it's a choice.
but how does the choice come across?
Because we love
we
differently.
change so much.
We don't love differently, we love.
We love differently. The reason why I'm saying we love differently, because there's men that also loves, ne? But we're not talking about men now.
Respect.
So we love, like there's so many women that can so much, they never loved sport. But without the men wanting her to love sport, they will love the sport without him asking. So we change ourselves without being molded. We do it automatically.
I
to
can relate to
please.
this.
I
I
can-
feel like I'm slowly becoming a soccer fan, and I've never
So
ever cared about
It's really
soccer.
the onus,
But
guys,
can
is
I
on
tell you,
us
I
as
understand
women.
that, but this is okay. I'm gonna bring in a personal story, right? Whether it's appropriate or not, I'm sorry to my husband if it sounds a bit
Sorry, Ash.
inappropriate. So, but he's also very open. So if it sounds inappropriate, it's also
Just
this is what
comment
the
there.
show
It is what it
is.
is.
It is what it
It is
is.
what it is. But I'm going to say it anyway. This is bringing in the molding part as well, like you say, right? We in a situation where we own a sports club, right? But now a lot of our time goes into the sport clubs. Now we're saying a woman loves, right? So now there's soccer training these days, there's golf training these days, it's girls, it's boys, it's all your things that you're doing now, right?
Different
So
age
if
groups.
you are the chairman of the thing, obviously you're constantly there, constantly making sure things work. At the moment we don't have our own transport for the team itself, so you're constantly up and downing.
So it's the
So
beginning.
it's the beginning stages. But here's my thing where I say why I agree with Anka in a certain to a certain extent with we love, because they are not saying no to their other responsibilities to make you feel a bit better. To take away, let's stop this 3 hours. Who said this editing, for example, can't go on in the next half an hour because the dishes is only going to be half an hour, right? Yet we expected to wait the 3 hours instead of you just delaying by half an hour.
Yeah.
With me, I am now a soccer fan based on the fact that if I don't support and understand your love, when are we going to spend time together? So now you're doing things a man is interested in, not because you're starting to love it, but because you want to spend time together, because that's his time he's going to be watching soccer. So if I don't watch with him, that means we lose 2 hours of our time spent together.
And it's bedtime, go sleep, good night.
Yeah, but
So-
now you're conveniencing him, like you're making it easier for him not to make the time for you.
Which I understand that, but that's what my argument
Isn't that what she's
is.
saying? Yeah.
That
What's the
we
priority?
do that, it's the priority. We end up doing that, but from a man's side, like that's where I started with the why are we told and why is it so normal for us to mold into a man's activities, as where if
choice.
it's the other way around, you can say it's a choice, but some men they just won't do it. It's
Look,
like a
It's still a choice.
I-
You do it or you don't do it.
As much
It's
as it is a choice, when it comes to marriage, the dynamic becomes different because you can't just like me say, I forgive and I forget. It doesn't mean reconciliation. This is reconciliation till the end of days for you. So you try to find, I think us as women, we try to find coping mechanisms to get to where we,
And solutions.
and
To make it
solutions
better.
to make it better, because the reality of the matter, we are emotional beings and we want that emotional connection. So when I say I want, like we and Xavier were having a conversation, it's like, you know, we haven't watched a movie in a long time, and I say I don't like watching movies because when we go on a date, that's not a date. I want your
talk.
attention. I want your attention. I want to talk to you. So I'd rather go sit at a restaurant, and even if we're just staring into each other's blue eyes, I mean, I've got your attention. I don't want you to sit and stare at a screen. So what happens there is I'm just trying to sketch a picture. He's going off to soccer. Now I'm sitting at home. So I'd rather be close to you and the type of attention that I get, at least we interacting. So I'm trying to get as much out of our marriage because there's only 24 hours in a day. And how many of those 24 hours do I spend with you? And that is how we feel valued and appreciated, that attention. And men don't understand that, but I say that you can't say that they don't understand it, it's just how they are. No, they can learn, especially when there's open communication. You need to take the time and effort to learn, just like I'm taking the time to learn.
But also, like Lorraine was saying, it's a choice. Like, because usually, for me personally, I would use that opportunity to have me time and go and do my own thing.
So you always, let's just say,
sorry, just to, before you say, because you might be going in the same direction. It's easy when you're in a relationship. I'm coming from the point of marriage, right? You're both going to work. There's work afterwards, and add kids, right?
I don't know about you
so
guys with kids.
in terms
There's no
of,
time.
as a married woman, right?
time.
You give up your self time to form a connection with your partner.
And often you hear women saying, like, I lost myself in this marriage, but you never hear a man say that. He
Because
lost
they
himself,
prioritize
or he
self.
let himself go.
It's planning.
Exactly.
I think the planning, time management is important. Can't you all sit and have a schedule?
But I think it's also because as women, we're so willing to sacrifice.
Yes.
That's exactly.
Yes.
so
Why are we not
It's a
teaching
choice.
from a young age?
So this is the point where I think men get to the point where they say, you know, I was minding my business or whatever, because they don't understand how we view the magnitude of them being present at all times when they're with us. So you're not
We don't
with
even
me.
need you to talk.
Yeah, just be with
Yeah.
just be with us. Like for me, like the dynamics in our relationship with me and Xavier. I'm an affectionate
You're
person.
so
He's
off
not.
topic, but go
Yes,
on.
I said that like 10 minutes
And time is
ago.
over.
I said that like 10 minutes ago. But let me just finish the thought and we can. So
It started with the promise, though.
Yeah, it's still a promise.
So he's not very affectionate at all. He's not a physical affectionate person.
It's a
And
promise to change. Sorry.
yeah, so we had this conversation, and I'm like, I understand that's not your personality, but mine is. So I understand you and how you operate, but I feel like you need to come to the point where you learn and understand how I am, because there's two people here.
100%.
There's a conversation goes both ways, and I know it sounds odd, but there's two different languages. So if I'm going to speak to you in your language, you need to reply in my language for this thing to work. That's just how
You can't just
goes.
choose one love language.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because in that you're going to have lots of empty promises.
Yeah.
if you
That's
can't
a
learn
big
that
thing. It's
language.
something I also
Language.
watched recently with what you're saying, with the two love languages, in terms of, if I'm a gift person and you a
not.
service person, don't love me by servicing.
My mind is with
Yeah,
makes
after
sense.
saying it, we kept quiet and everybody went, what service
No,
me?
Yeah, service. It makes sense because it must match
It
your
must
love
match my,
language.
because I don't see that as love. I
Yes.
see it as, why are you doing that now?
100%.
It's
you
like
doing
they're
that
saying,
now?
if somebody, like they like to talk about the table in relationships and marriages. If you're bringing 14 forks to the table, but I need plates. I appreciate what you're bringing, but it's not what I
I
need.
need a plate.
Yes.
Enough forks.
You will eat out of your hand with that fork. I need a plate.
But yeah, that is okay. As much as that went a bit off topic,
I think we need to have a show on
but that's what
compromising
was
also.
not only compromising. So for the next 3 weeks, remember I've been wanting to do love, marriage, divorce. So for the next 3 weeks, we will be doing the love, marriage, divorce. Where we will go into all of the things in terms
yeah.
of relationships. So hopefully everybody
like
that
go on.
came on
Getting
board
into the
will
ring.
still be. So we will go further. So it's not so far. That was just the introduction to the rest of September.
Nice. Yeah.
To the rest of September. So we'll go forward in that. But I thought it would be also nice based on the whole breaking promises in terms of relationships
is.
beforehand, before we get into the other juicy stuff. So, thank you so much for watching today's show.
This was fun.
Yeah, thank you, Lorraine, for making the time to come,
you.
and for the topic, and for everybody else that is watching. If you are interested in us speaking about anything, please do DM, message, whatever, if you want us, and then I will obviously say, do you want to join in on the topic, because it is your topic. You're not forced to come.
Yeah,
You
'cause
can
just now
still
people start-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're not forced to come, but if you are passionate about the topic or whatever, you're more than welcome to join us in studio as well to bring your point and why you're so passionate about the topic. But please note, it must be woman topics only. We deal, like, even when we dealt with that divorced man, the very
Yeah.
good looking one.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember him.
We
his
brought
name.
it from a woman's perspective and we turned it around. So anything that you do have, we will always bring it from a woman's perspective, right? So thank you so much for coming, Lorraine. Thank you, Cleo, for joining us yet again.
Thank
and
you.
to Anka, always making time, guys. We really appreciate it. And for you that's watching, thank you, man.
Thank you, Vange, for guiding us
Thank you.
through the show.
And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Same time, same place.
Same place. Bye.
Bye.
Say that you're not, say